change your mind about leaving me behind. Oh, bring it to me. Bring your sweet love and bring it on home to me. Yeah.
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 Oh, I laughed when you left, but now I know I only hurt myself. Oh, bring it to me. Bring your sweet love and bring it on home to me. Yeah.
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 I'll give you jewelry
Mhm.
and money too. But that ain't all I do for you. Oh, bring it to me. Bring your sweet love and bring it on home to me. Yeah.
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 Oh,
Yeah. Bring it on home
to me.
Folks, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show, live here in Boulder, Colorado at Far and Away Studios. And it's an honor to be joined here by two wonderful singers. Keep the comments coming in. People love that. Jessica Rogalski and Clayton, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Oh, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Jessica, I would like you to talk about just the concept of perseverance in the music biz. I mean,
Yes.
I think it's important for people because there's constant roadblocks. Even
Yes.
the most luminary cats have always faced so much turbulence.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about your concept of perseverance and as it
Yes.
relates to your musical aptitude?
I feel like perseverance is about staying flexible and moving with the changes, because there's a lot of times where it feels like a door is being just shut in your face. And if you can figure out, you know what, there's a window, I can open that window, I go through that one instead. I think that's what perseverance is about.
Can you give an example
artist.
in your career?
So when I I wanted to put myself out there, right? So I was in a cover band and singing, I really kind of cut my teeth on a lot of the funk and R&B soul music. So it really became a part of me, but then the situation just wasn't fulfilling anymore. And so for me, that was more of an emotional door that was shut. I needed to be more creative and write my own music. So I could have just, been afraid. I could have been fearful of that transition. But I think it's important to just trust that you have something to share with the world and to continue on. So even if it meant leaving this really comfortable situation to create something completely unknown, I think that is what it's about.
Is that the window?
Pushing
Is that the window
through.
you're
That's the
talking?
window.
The window for you was original songwriting.
Yes, it was, absolutely. Because I was even engaging in that with that group, but it just wasn't natural. It wasn't what that
Wasn't
group was
gelling.
supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So it was just time to rebirth, and that's part of what artistic freedom is about, is allowing yourself to recreate yourself.
Absolutely, rebirth and regeneration. Clayton, so great to hang with you here. How liberated do you feel on the bandstand at this point in your career?
It's really listening to Jess talk. She's been doing this for many years, and when I first started doing this, she was one of the first two women who kind of really welcomed me into this scene, and
The music
Was
scene.
the
No
music scene.
labels. We're not doing
Yeah.
any labels.
that's right. It was.
So she welcomed you. She was. It was no bad competitive vibe. It was just come on.
No, I mean, we always have this all of us have this kind of healthy competition, but it's never been dog eat dog. Nobody, and I was really expecting that, and I was fearful of it. I mean, it's really easy to make friends with all the guys in the music industry because they don't have, they aren't competing with you.
Well, we've talked about that.
But the women, you always hope it's going to work out, and it's not totally up to you initially. And she was just, one of those people who just pulled me in. We had that 9-piece woman band. You and Jody Woodward brought me in for the first time, and that meant I could cry because, like, being accepted by the women in the music scene was a lot more important to me than being accepted by the guys.
Why? Just to explain to the layperson listening overseas, why were you more passing the credibility threshold with women?
Yeah,
as opposed
we have the same challenges, and men just have challenges too out here, but women have unique challenges in the music scene. It's very male dominated, and frankly, the men in this business have been really, really, really great to work with, by and large. And but they may not understand kind of what it's like to, on every break have, people kind of seeing you as maybe somebody they can go home with.
Well, no, I think also,
but
Jessica, you can riff on this too, but it's like the idea that, you get up on stage, it is a show, it is entertainment, you guys are having a ball, and then there are cats when the lights go off or when the set ends, they just assume that you got to pick up that show right off the bandstand when in fact that's not the case.
No.
So you have to deal with this whole other issue of I mean, how have you learned to deal with that as a woman?
Boundaries. So if you don't have
how do you do that without being like I mean, to me, I'd be very abrasive sometimes. I think that would be a fault of mine where I wouldn't have patience for people that couldn't get the vibe.
Yeah. You know what I do? I just try to be really kind to everyone, but I try not to let them too close into my personal space. So if someone comes up to me after the show and wants a big embrace, and I don't know them, we get a handshake.
Your hand
name?
goes right into their chest, right?
What is your name? Yes, exactly.
Boom.
Tell me your name. Oh, I'm Jessica. Let's be like people. You
build a relationship, and then people come to know you as a human being, and
that's part of what it is.
Guys don't need to worry about boundaries. Boundaries are huge on the bandstand and off the bandstand. Have people actually tried to come up on the bandstand?
Yes. All the time. Yeah.
All the time.
On a regular basis.
Especially now that dregs are a bigger thing in the scene now. It seems like a lot of people are coming out really high, which didn't happen when I first started this even 4 years ago. But people are, on something. I don't know quite what it is. Sometimes I'm pretty sure
it's not. I mean, cannabis is legal, but it's more than weed. It's more than marijuana.
I think that it just depends on.
It's a cocktail of things.
Stoned somebody is.
If
they're gonna have the balls to try to jump on your stage or not, and if they do, I'd be, just kindly, gently get you off my stage,
Well, the audience is. I mean, at this point, they just want you to continue to sing. I would request something off that female 9-piece singing group, or whatever you want to do.
That's a song that we do together. From that, and we haven't done it in a year.
Longer than that. And
you got to dust off those rusty strings. Just do it.
We do.
What do you
want to do? Do you remember?
Not really. What was the you and I did the duet on the song you played slide on.
Well, do whatever you want to do. People want to hear you sing. They really don't. They don't really want to hear me babbling anymore.
Well,
let's
you're
do a
kind
blues
of putting us
tune.
on the spot. Yeah. Do you know?
Do you know Sugar Coated Love?
No.
Do you know?
She knows all the
Just for the record, these two are not normally in a duo capacity, but I mean, they have a deep bag of tunes, so you got to come up with something here.
We'll come up with something.
Yeah. Let's think about it for a second. I don't know.
But what was on your album that you just did that I sang backgrounds on?
You sang on Blue Sister.
Blue Sister. I'll back you.
Yeah, but that's all it is Blue Sister,
Oh, that's true.
You did because all of
Jessica, can you sing the song about the loss that you suffered in your life about your friend?
Yeah, sure. So this is a song that I dedicate to all of our loved ones who've passed on to the other side, and we all experience loss and tragedy, and as a songwriter, it's been very healing for me to be able to somehow express this experience, because it's not something that I can rationally accept. So let's see.
This song makes me cry every time she
It's all right.
sings it.
Crying is good.
It's such an amazing song, and yeah, I think by the time you're, our age, you've
you start
experienced
experiencing these things,
some death and people you weren't ready to lose, people who leave suddenly, and it's
So it is definitely one of the deeper songs that I've had to express.
Yeah.
So when I do this live, I really have to find my boundary, right? Because you have to let your heart expose without it making you a big puddle on the floor. So it starts off, I lost a friend to the madness. She said she couldn't go on, and so she did the unthinkable, left us all here alone. But times get hard, we all want to fall apart sometimes, but we got to hold on to the faith that someday this pain will be gone. We got to rise above it, rise above the pain. 'Cause I know I'm gonna see your smiling faces again. But that's basically that's the first
And just for the record, your friend, your dear friend, took her life and her son's life.
Yes.
Which is it's something that you can't put logic behind.
No.
So emotion in a song is key in that sense,
It is.
and I appreciate you sharing that. Cass, I mean, I've talked to you about this before, but I mean, can you talk a little bit about how you've grown as your entertainer presence on the bandstand, setting aside all the riff-raff and the people that are, I'm just talking more about holding your space on the bandstand and feeling comfortable holding that space.
Yeah, it's interesting because I know what she's saying about boundaries. It's not something I really do well. I run into issues with it regularly, but I know what I need to do for myself, and my boundaries are fairly non-existent up there. Once I get out and I start talking with people, then I start, knowing, who I have to be aware of and everything.
Don't even focus on that. I'm talking about bringing people into your music that are not people that are belligerent, but the idea that cats that are there for pacification and how you get their attention, how you get them to snap out of that.
So one of the things that I used to do when I first started that's really different now, I used to sing out to people, and I was really pushing like this energy out. And what I do now is I really invite people in.
Yeah.
Like I'm inviting people down into my voice. It's actually kind of
It's a metaphysical thing.
It's a metaphysical thing, yeah. It's a quantum thing, because when you invite people in, they can really feel what you're doing, and you're also not pushing your voice because you're allowing all that resonance to just be there and inviting people to the party.
Yeah.
And into the joy of that infinite space that we're all sharing. There are a lot of sacred moments in a bar, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Sure.
There really are. And, one of the things that when I first started singing with the all-women's group, I really watched all of them, because I started out just singing with, 4 guys. They were teaching me everything they knew about how they act on stage.
Yeah.
But I was such a sponge, and I was really watching everyone, and especially Jessica and Jill. actually Stacy Turpinoff too. Eve plays guitar, so she's got a different thing going. But all three of them had such a different thing going on that was their own.
You know, that's what makes it. Unfortunately, it didn't last, but that's really what makes a great band when you bring in people that are completely different.
And what I found is I'm not a person who's like really like Jill's bigger than life.
She is bigger than life. She's like vaudeville almost.
She is.
You're pretty boisterous. But she must be just at a different level then.
It's just a different style, and I knew I wasn't going to do something inauthentic to myself. So, you know, I'm dancing, I'm keeping the energy high, but it's really in a way that feels authentic to me. You can't be anybody else. Even if you observe everyone else and you're like, yeah, that's kind of cool. I like what she does.
Yeah.
You have to find your own way of communicating both. It's not just music. It's really about how you communicate with your soul and your body and like how you connect with people through the song. And every song's different and every show's different. It's never done the same twice. That's why even if you're doing a cover song, it's still exciting.
Yeah.
Often.
I always find like that sometimes I feel like we have to be a bit of shapeshifters because every single 3 to 5, 7 minutes, there's a new energy coming at you.
It's a great. There's a great club in Brooklyn, by the way, called Shapeshift.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
But explain that in the context of your music. Is it different colors, different tempo shifts?
They're different personalities, and I'm expressing a different part of myself. So even if I'm singing a cover tune, even if I'm doing a Stevie Wonder tune, and then I'm jumping back to one of my songs, whatever the set list is, you know, you look down at it, and sometimes it feels like, nope, that's not the song I'm doing right now. Yeah. Because it's an energy. It's a feel. It's a feel.
And and you ultimately want to. It's how both of you can riff on this. But how have you been able to get yourself? You're not going to be able to connect with the audience or raise the collective consciousness of the audience unless you go there first.
Right.
And now, how much of a challenge is that? And how do you get to that space?
So let's think of it as, for me, I think of it as, because I am a woman, I am in this constant hormonal fluctuation.
Yes.
Okay, and I know because
I've lot of hormones.
This, for more than, I've been doing this nonstop for about 20 years.
Wow.
So, I've recognized that sometimes I'm in a place where I should be in a teepee by myself. I don't want to deal with this shit, And then it really
can you actually get into the
digging deeper
into
that music. And the beauty of music and the healing part of music is that the minute the music starts, you go there.
It takes you in.
Have to go there. Yeah. I was just, I was just physically pummeled by these couple of dogs.
Show that people are like, what happened to her arm?
What the hell happened to my arm?
Yeah, I mean, she got Humpty Dumpty by a couple of Labrador retrievers or something.
Yeah, I was at the dog park with my dogs and with my dog, and long story short, from behind these dogs came running full speed and took me out. The girl who saw it happen, she said, "Your legs were up above your head, and you landed on your."
She's a tiny person. You can't tell this in this context, but she's petite.
Good. So
could have been much worse. So we're very thankful.
I had a gig that evening,
right?
So this is 11:30 in the morning, and
wow.
I'm pretty shaken up. I whacked my head hard. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
So I had to get up there and perform, and my back is tweaked. So this is a good example of I'm in a physical state where I should be resting on the couch and not speaking to anyone, but I am now obligated to get up there on stage and deliver my music to these people. And and I said my husband's the bass player. Okay, he's amazing. So
what's his name?
His name is Paul Rogalski.
Well, he'll be watching this at some point.
Mojo Mama is the band,
and my band is Mojo Mama, and we're a 4-piece. So basically, the music starts and I got to get up there. I'm not drinking. I'm not altering myself in any way, shape, or form, honestly, because I personally need to be very alert and on top of my game because I am the only vocalist in my band, and I'm carrying the front of the stage the whole time. My guitarist, Bob Murnahan, is a totally amazing guitarist. So that gives me a moment when he's going off. But
that night, though,
really,
specifically, what did you have to do in order to deliver the music?
Mentally, I just kind of sat outside, and before I went on, I did my warm-ups, my vocal warm-ups, and I just kind of went inward a little bit.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to go inward in order to be expansive. And that is something I've had to learn over the years, because there's been times where, you know, I'm on stage and I don't want to do this. But it's just like going to work, you know. Some days you love it, some days you don't. And most of the time, what I like to call it is that moment of contentment when you are inside of the music, and it just lets you...
You're in a cocoon.
Express, And then you feel your power. Okay, I am in power, because when you get pummeled by a couple of dogs in a dog park, you feel like completely out of control. What the hell just happened to me? Hey, you know what? I'm going to take my power back. And that's what it's about.
And yeah, I mean, if you had broken your arm, let's just say, and the doctor said you can leave tonight, but I don't recommend doing anything super physical. Is the calling for the music that strong where you would have been up on the bandstand anyway?
Not for that particular show. No. I mean, I'm going to take care of myself.
Right.
First and foremost, and as you know, if it was something like that, I would have called the show. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It depends on the situation, because, like, I mean, I had the flu one time, and I mean, I just had the chills and the body aches, and I was playing at Jake's Roadhouse, and it was like, you know, you go in the bathroom. I went into the bathroom and threw up. There's mirrors on the ceiling there. I'm like, ooh, you got
a full view.
Outside view.
Just like, okay, brush my teeth, go back out on the stage.
Yeah, that's pretty hardcore. I have to say.
It was rough, but you know, it's an interesting thing. As soon as I started singing, the adrenaline and the joy did come back. I didn't think it would for that particular gig, but it really did. Yeah.
Well, the Chris Parker, who's an amazing drummer and will be tuning in, he played in the band Stuff from New York City, and then he came back from New Orleans with pneumonia. And the doctor was like, you need to go into bed. And he had a gig at McKell's on the Upper East Side of New York, and he's like, I gotta make the gig. And he played his ass off, and people were like, I've never heard you play like that before. And he was so physically ill, all he wanted to do was crawl into bed. Yeah. So there is something that does take over, the spirit takes over, and which is, I'm surprised you, I mean, against doctor's orders, Jessica, I'm surprised you wouldn't have attended that gig if you were more severely injured. But it's cool. It all worked out. But Cass, I just wanted to ask you where the area in your musical repertoire that you need to grow in the most in order to get to the next level. And there's no bookkeeping. You know, I'm not talking about the bookkeeping or the promotion or the one man.
As you and I know, I've talked with you a lot about this privately, but I'm just moving into my own thing with the Cass Clayton band, and just came out with, you know, a CD with 10 originals, and right before that, a month before, I released an EP with several originals on it as well. So now it's really finding how to express those songs with the band, what other songs, like you were talking in the set list, support that, and what is our sound ultimately going to be. The songs are really, really great, but as you know, there are a million ways to translate those songs, and what is our sound going to be? You know, Taylor Scott produced that album in this studio. This is Jeff Gray's studio. It's just one of a kind. It has great acoustics. Let
me ask you, though, how hard is the challenge, the fact that the recording went down with serious studio cats that you will not get a chance to play with on the bandstand, so therefore you want to recreate the sound off that album with other cats, right? I mean, you're not playing with that band that you cut the record with. As you know, James Taylor would cut a record with the Section, Danny Korchmar, Russ Kunkel, Lee Sklar, they'd go on the road with him. So it was just all very fluid.
Right.
So that's the challenge.
That's part of it, because, you know, let's pretend this is a temple for a second, because this is my temple sometimes. And it is. It's got a cathedral ceiling. if we had 20 people in here and one person left, the energy of the room would change. If another person walked in, the energy of the room would change.
Yeah.
And depending on what every person brings to the table, it really changes things profoundly. So it's not that the musicians that I'm working with now are subpar. They're amazing musicians. We just changed the energy just because of who we are.
Dig.
Yeah.
And so it's finding how we want to express those songs,
Right.
and making it everybody's songs, because those were studio musicians. I wish I could take them everywhere sometimes, but the truth is, our band is amazing. Lauren Phillips on bass and Max DiVincenzo on drums, and Taylor's been playing guitar, but we've got Christian Mockett coming in on guitar when Taylor is on tour. That changes everything. Christian's an amazing guitar player, but he's not going to express things the way Taylor does. We have to help him find his space, and we're finding our voice to translate something that was done in a studio setting.
Yeah.
Where
You feel a drive though to get this music out in a live setting outside of the regionalism of Colorado.
I do. I don't know why, but I just have to.
You have to.
Yeah.
I just having a ball here, but can you guys do some? Both of you have been steeped in the ancient ways and the Hindu traditions and the singing. Both of you have spent a lot of time in the ashram, different ashrams. But could you do some raga chanting for the audience?
Do you do any chanting at yours? Because we do a ton.
We do, but it's just not sure.
What mantra do you guys use?
Well, okay, Cass, you can do one, and then
I'll do a little bit of one.
do a little bit of one, and then Jessica can figure out what she wants to do.
Shri Hariya Kanda Viharini Jagamana Harini Maya Jagamana Harini Dayamai Deveshi Dayamai Deveshi Jaya Dangadamba Shive Om Jaya Jagadamba Shive.
I'll just listen to her all day.
You're bailing out. I know.
That's a Divine Mother song.
So can you explain the meaning behind that song?
So Shri Hariya, this is a form of the Divine Mother, and these songs are sung in the morning and the evening in the ashram that I've been going to for 29 years. And I really stumbled onto the ashram. I came out of a Baptist church, and I was like, I'm not doing the Baptist church. It doesn't fit me, and I'm a free thinker. And there's nothing wrong with that church, by the way. It's just
There's no prefacing. You don't need to go there. Just go the
Yes,
ashram.
I'm just making that qualification.
Obviously.
It's as soon as I went onto the ashram, I heard these Sanskrit songs. It was early in the morning. It was dark, actually, and people were doing this chanting, and I felt like I had heard those songs before. I didn't know them, but I felt like I had heard them, and I felt this complete peace completely roll over me. I mean, the things that have happened in just opening after opening after opening, you heal over many, many years, things that you don't even know you need to heal.
Yeah.
And there's still things like, that come up for me every day, and I ask for help every day. There's no limit to what we can have. It's just that people don't ask for help. They're depending on the smaller aspect of themselves instead of the part that's connected
to the larger
the force.
Spirit.
Yeah, the spirit, whatever you want to call it. It's absolutely there for every single person, and it's there for every atheist too, which I know is it's there for everyone.
Well, I mean, you can be spiritual.
Yeah.
You can be spiritual without being religious. I mean, there's.
I'm spiritual without being religious.
Absolutely. I mean, of course, you had a taste of the organized religion, and it wasn't something that really fit you who you were. So the ashram became a sanctuary for you.
It did.
What about your ashram, Jessica? I mean, you how did you find it, and what does it mean to you?
It's a beautiful thing how when you do follow what your heart tells you, that your life blossoms from it. And I wouldn't say that I have spent the time in the ashram the way that Cass has. It has affected me deeply to a different extent, more from sort of a onlooker's perspective, because I've spent time. Well, my deep love and friendship developed with the guru of the ashram and his wife through teaching their daughter music, and so my husband Paul
through your music academy.
Yeah. So we own a music academy, Mojo's Music Academy in Longmont, and when we very first opened 12 years ago, this very talented, sweet young lady came in and was studying bass with Paul, and she, we developed a really strong relationship with her family, but we didn't realize they were who they were in their world, and what they've become is some of our best friends, our most loving, compassionate, supportive people in our lives. And last year or 2 years ago, when I was trying to decide whether I was going to take the leap and continue the business, or were we going to dissolve it, I went to the ashram. They invited me to go and just be there, and that's a beautiful experience, to have friends and family in your life who know who you are and who love you with their hearts enough to say, here's the space you need to be here as long as you need and want. And what came to me was, while I was there and I was in my meditations, I really saw that my life is so meaningful and full because of music.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it's been a struggle and a battle at some points, the connections and the personal relationships I've made with people, and the fact that I've been able to enrich my own heart and spirit through connecting with other people through music, has been the reason why I'm continuing to do it. So, and
the clarity of that feeling came through when you were able to sit there. And they didn't, even when they approached you originally, they didn't say, "Hey, we're the."
No.
There was no.
Not at all.
Right. It's a beautiful thing.
We just became friends, and we played music together. And Faith and her, a couple of the girls from the ashram, Mira and Gayatri, would come, and we would do sessions around songwriting and harmonies. And they had a 3-piece band together that they ended up recording, an album together. And so
people are seeing you on Facebook. They're freaking out right now.
What's with the phone? I'm so sorry.
It's all right. This is what it happens, on the Jake Feinberg show. No, Cass, it's you are really a spirit child, and you continue. You've done things, as we've talked about, in a bit of a reverse fashion, and it's behooved you to a degree. But I just wanted you to talk to the audience about your concept of love and how you bring love to the world.
Well, I'm just so...
How do you bring love to the world?
First of all, when you talked about what you have to do to be in front of the world, you have to go within. Musicians, we spend all this time listening to music, but I spend a lot of time in silence. Mm-hmm. And I spend a lot of time alone, a tremendous amount of time alone. Not just writing music, but having silence. And, every day I'm asking for, to be guided and to be given whatever I need to give to somebody else. Because it's usually small stuff. It's usually like, as we were speaking about yesterday, it's not the big stuff that changes people on the inside. It's when somebody scowls at you at the grocery store and you smile back with true kindness. Mm-hmm. Those moments that heals people. And it really, it's all these little tiny small things. It's not the big stuff of going out on stage. Mm-hmm. I do wish everybody healing and love, and I ask that every single person that comes to any show is healed and gifted in exactly the way they need. But that doesn't come from me. The request is from me, and then it's really between them and this higher force that's there for everyone.
So love is non-judgment, even if somebody is not warm to you. It's still just being open to them and knowing that the suffering has nothing to do with you. Right. In fact, it's well beyond that, and you still need to keep an open heart.
Right.
And that's not easy to do.
And I'm not successful at it all the time.
Right. It's a very difficult thing, especially like in a, for lack of a better term, you know, there's a lot of swinging dick things going on where people are like, you know, wanking it or very competitive.
Yeah.
That goes for females too.
Yeah, sure.
One final question, Jessica. Can you talk about a time in your career when you left your physical body on the bandstand?
Yes. So I think the first time that it really happened, I didn't recognize it until I came back onto the stage because
You were performing?
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
What I really believe it is so whether you're playing an instrument or you're singing, there's this level of practice and experience that you finally get to where your spirit can take over and you're not thinking. And that moment of not thinking is what allows you to be in that moment of contentment. And that moment comes, it comes and goes, and it's hard to grasp onto exactly when it was, you know, but when it's there, it's just timeless. So you just don't even you don't even know.
And you don't even question it. You just know that it's the magic of it.
Yeah.
So when
was
could you talk about this experience specifically when you were when you left and then came back?
Yeah. So I have this memory of just I actually think it was just a bar gig. You know, it wasn't anything. It wasn't any special show or anything. So what I noticed was I didn't notice that I was there until I came back, like I said. So as I was singing, it almost took me off guard when I did recognize that. Whoa, where was I first? I don't even remember. You know what I mean? Like I don't even. Did I sing that song?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you basically were a conduit for the music. I mean, it was coming through you.
It was just a flow. It was just this natural experience, you know.
Yeah.
And I do go back to that, and when I do feel a little bit like, this is hard, it's heavy, it's so intense, you know, I can go back to that moment. It's really like this sort of fuzzy, beautiful, clear.
Well, I think through all the serious crap that goes down in the biz, that's the kind of stuff that keeps you going.
It's what keeps me doing it, because it is part of my way of being in the world, and
I dig.
You know, really being alive.
The town you live in, Longmont?
Yes.
Okay, just for the record, there's only 2 dog parks in Longmont, and
Yes.
so, I mean, just please
let's get another.
get your dogs on a leash so that Jessica's not getting Humpty Dumpty'd everywhere.
Owie.
Big thanks to Far and Away Studios. There's a lot of cats that have allowed spirit children like Jessica and Cass to thrive musically, and without them it wouldn't be possible. And people, cosmic women like this will ultimately lead us out of this slightly dystopic time that we are all in. So Jessica, Cass, it was such a beautiful honor. Happy 4th of July, and thank you for being part of the program.
You are really
appreciate it.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Got a big day here on the Jake Feinberg Show. We'll be back later. See you all later.